Hello everybody, once again, this is AikawaKazu and welcome back to Knowing Your Skills, this time episode 9 featuring the Bringer, Light Fury, and the Beast Walker class skills. We will start off with common skills such as Chakra Illusion and then followed by Light Fury and the Beast Walker skills. We'll be touching on quite a bit since we are combining both classes this time, so make sure you keep up with me. The first skill we'll be talking about will be Chakra Illusion. The first thing you need to know about Chakra Illusion is that there are 3 ways of using it. The first way will obviously be casting it by pressing the assigned hotkey for the skill. The second way will be tumbling to disappear and evade in a direction during the sprinting portion to give you iframes for the duration of disappearance. Last but not the least, the third way is to press the spacebar while tumbling to activate the skill and still be able to tumble mid-sprint for the iframe usage. The third way is the most important should you want to dodge a skill first with a tumble and then proceed to use the spacebar for the sprinting portion of Chakra Illusion to activate the skill and then tumble again to disappear to dodge the follow-up skill from your opponent that you have baited. Let's take a look at what I mean. For PvE and PvP, aside for mobility and iframes usage, Chakra Illusion is important for lock-on marking. What this means is that as bringers are able to summon cats and illusions to aid them in their battle, Chakra Illusion's punch serve as a lock-on marker such that the AI, the artificial intelligence of the summons, will know which target to focus on. This is extremely useful in PvE in NES where there are multiple monsters or targets around during a boss fight, and for PvP, important if you want your summons not to attack targets such as force mirrors, tower summons, relics, but on the opposing player instead. Once marked, via punching a target at the end of Chakra Illusion, the lock-on stays for 20 seconds. The next skill will be Chakra Ring or Tunnel. Chakra Ring is used mainly for utility. The movement speed increase is the same regardless of the level of the skill, which is 30%. The ring or tunnel lasts for 10 seconds and has a 30 seconds cooldown. It has a 1% damage reduction per level with a maximum of 25% at level 16 since you start off at 10% damage reduction at level 1. All these bonuses only applies while you are in the tunnel and it covers huge distances.
Chakra Tunnel is basically just use a speed buff and damage reduction.
So the damage reduction is the one that's important.
Alright, let's go.
Coming up next will be Outbreak EX from the Light Fury class. Outbreak EX casting animation can be cancelled midway by pressing the right click, leaving behind a ball of light that will explode. You can achieve full hit potential of Outbreak EX by pressing the right click just before the ending punch. Outbreak EX backflip animation also has iframe which can be used to dodge certain skills if timed perfectly. Let's take a look. Can go. There you go. Perfect. Next up, we have Ring Strike. Ring Strike's rising portion of its casting animation has iframe. This applies to both the EX and non-EX version of the skill. With the iframe, you can use Ring Strike as a crucial counter against skills when timed correctly to trap your opponent. Note that Ring Strike EX has a larger exploding AoE compared to the normal Ring Strike as well. Next up, my favorite skill for the Light Fury, the Ball of Light, the Spear of Hope, the Genki Dama, Sunshine Spark. Sunshine Spark can be cast normally by pressing the hotkey obviously. You can also cast Sunshine Spark after using Chakra Heal by pressing the left click while meditating or using it after jumping as well. While it does not have iframes in its rising animation, it has close to 1200 super armor defense similar to Finish Attack. It also has 300 super armor break per hit, making it one of the few skills to have both 1200 super armor defense and 1200 super armor destruction power. Sunshine Spark also increases damage taken by affected targets by 20%. This debuff activates once Sunshine Spark is in contact with the target, unlike what many believe to be only applied after the spark explodes. Last but not the least, Sunshine Spark can also travel and explode to as far as around 15 meters, and as Senpai put it, it has humongous AoE.
Yeah!
Nice. Next up, we're going to talk about Chakra Energy. The difference between the EX and the non-EX version of the skill is that for the EX, you can heal up to 3 people instead of 2. EX also gives you a movement speed buff that lasts for a short duration of around 1 to 2 seconds. Aside from that, both the EX and non-EX version has infinite range, which includes the speed buff from the EX version. However, please note that while it has infinite range, Chakra Energy doesn't work if the players are at different altitudes. This means that if the bringer is on the ground and the target he is trying to heal is above him, the target above will not be able to receive the heals as well as all effects from Chakra Energy. Last but not the least, for Light Fury, we will talk about Ring of Energy, the ultimate skill. Ring of Energy is an extremely useful skill which can be used in mainly 2 different ways. These ways are shaped by how you use Ring of Energy. Upon using the skill, your character will immediately channel a ball of energy much like Rasengan in Naruto. At this stage, you can decide on 2 choices, which is to use Ring of Energy defensively or offensively. To use Ring of Energy defensively, you can press the left click button to fire out a small ball of light that has a decent AoE that gives a 50% damage reduction as well as curing all debuffs in that AoE. You can continue to fire out another 2 more balls of light for a total of 3 in 3 different locations of your desire. Each ball of light stays for 5 seconds and a 50% damage reduction buffs last for 10 seconds upon entering the AoE. This means that by placing the ball of light in 5 seconds intervals, you can have a total of 25 seconds enjoyment of 50% damage reduction and a curing of all debuffs. The offensive option, however, is very simple. You can immediately press the right click to fire out the ball of light as a projectile to explode and deal damage to targets. This delay between the firing of the projectile upon right clicking is a short 1 second. You can also use Ring of Energy and channel as long as you want to, and then decide to click on the right click to fire out the ball of light as damage as well, so you can delay the offensive option as well. Ring of Energy has 1200 spawn defense, so well you can take some hits before you decide which form of the skill you want to use. Was that too cool for you? Well, we're just gonna deal with it! Coming up will be a Beast Walker skill starting with Illusion Strike. Illusion Strike has crazy super armor breaking capabilities, easily breaking 1200 super armor defense. In simple terms, from Aces to Senpai, it breaks pretty much everything, including ultimate skills like Miracle Relic. Illusion Strike EX, however, also has iframe, which is from the backflipping portion of the skill, as well as a stationary cast of the EX version. you'll realize that the right-click version of Illusion Strike EX, which is the stationary version, the iframe showcase wasn't successful because it's extremely short. However, please note that there is still iframe, so do take note. Next up, we have Night Explosion. Night Explosion is not animation locked. This means that during the incantation of the skill, you can actually change the direction of the exploding AoE. This works for both the EX and non-EX version of the skill. For the EX version, the exploding suction effect is stronger than Black Hole. With that, we move on to Plasma Burst. Plasma Burst has iframes on the rising portion of the casting animation. For the EX, the right-click backflip after landing also has iframe. The landing exploding AoE also continues to do damage over time, much like Magma Wave EX. Okay, go. Bye, Sakura. There you go. Next up, the skill I find most annoying from Bringers, which probably is the same for anyone fighting against them, will be Shadow Focus. For Shadow Focus to work, you first need to inflict Dark Burn on your target, just like how Detonate can only work if your target is under the electrocution status. However, unlike Detonate, Shadow Focus cannot be evaded. As long as you are within the cone of animation of Shadow Focus, even when you time your tumble correctly, you will still get caught by the effects of the skill. Shadow Focus, like Illusion Strike, breaks almost everything, if not everything. Skills with 1200 small defense are not spared as well. Next up, we have Nightfall. Casting Nightfall gives an area of effect where enemies within it take increased damage. At level 1, the increased damage is 10%, and at level 6, the increased damage is 26%, which is 6% higher than Sunshine Spark. However, one downside of Nightfall is that the debuff only works on targets within the AoE and has no proceeding duration for targets outside. This means that once targets are outside of Nightfall's AoE, the damage debuff no longer applies.
Yeah, I'll walk inside, I have a debuff, right? I'll walk outside, no more.
Bingo. Since we have spoken about Ring of Energy ultimate skill for Light Fury, let's touch on Dark Conviction, ultimate skill for Beast Walker. For PvE, Dark Conviction does a huge bot damage of 17,000%, which is extremely good. However, for PvP, there's a slight downside. Dark Conviction damage comes from the outer ring AoE. Standing together or at the center of Dark Conviction, you will actually receive zero damage. This means that when using in PvP, you must not use it as a standalone, but when your target is slightly away from you. One good way is using Shadow Focus Lift, and then while your target is in the air away from you, you then cast Dark Conviction in PvP. For PvE, as most bosses has large hitboxes, getting the full bot damage of 17,000% is thus easily done. We will now move on to Incarnation of the Dark as well as summons in general. Information on Incarnation of the Dark cooldown versus buff duration increased play can be found in my Bringer, Light Fury and Beast Walker skill play options insights video. A link will be provided in the description below, so do check it out. While extremely useful buff in PvE, Incarnation of the Dark does litter in PvP. On the other hand, Blessing of Azuna is comparatively much more useful as it gives the same increase in Dark attack in PvE as well as PvP. This makes it a much more useful buff or summon in PvP compared to Incarnation of the Dark. As Aces puts it, since the cat summon has been nerfed in terms of HP, summoning the raccoon first instead of the cat is sometimes a better choice. Let me just show the moves of this buff. That was a 10 damage increase.
I want to show you this actually useful thing called this raccoon.
You wanted to say that it's useless, right?
No,
Oh, what? Wow!
Yeah, this raccoon has the same values as PvE.
We will now come to the last part of the video, which will be talking about one of the most underutilized mechanics for Bringers, which is buffing your summons with Chakra Heal. Before we go to that, know that Chakra Heal gives damage increase buff regardless of the EX version or not. The EX version, however, has an additional 1 meter area of effect compared to the non-EX version and has a 50% damage reduction buff as well. Both the damage increase buff and the damage reduction buff last for 2 seconds and will keep refreshing if you stay within the AoE of Chakra Heal. The key to note is the 2 seconds buff duration. Buffing your summons rests upon this 2 seconds buff duration. What most players have been doing is summoning their cats and illusions first, then using Chakra Heal to increase their damage. You can actually double buff your summons by summoning them while your Chakra Heal damage increase buff duration is still on, since your summons damage depend on the stats you have during the time of summoning. In simple terms, you can cast Chakra Heal, cancel it mid-cast, use Circle Gore to decrease the time taken for you to land to the ground, and then immediately cast your summons. This will give you permanent damage increase buff for your summons, and most importantly, you can give them further increase in damage by using Chakra Heal as well, giving them 2-fold increase in damage instead of 1-fold. This works both for illusions as well as the summoning of the Ninja Cat, which is crucial for all Abyss Walkers to master. Okay, normal 81,000 crits. Okay, that's done. Now with Meditate, 120,000 crits. Okay, 120,000. So now we're going to showcase the way to do it with the buff. Basically, you meditate to cancel and then you summon your cat. Try to cancel it with Circle Gore, or you can try to cancel it by the backflip, but it might be too late. So having Circle Gore helps. Cat summon. And now you should be able to see 120,000 crits, which is 115,000 now. You can see the damage is increased by 30,000, which means the cat actually now has the permanent Chakra Heal buff. And now you can actually buff it again with Meditate, and now you get 150,000, 170,000 crits. There you go, 170,000 crits. Yep. It also works on illusions as well, so same thing. You can meditate, Circle Gore, and then summon illusions, and illusions will have that increased permanent meditate, not meditate, the Chakra Heal buff stats on. So yep, that is Chakra Heal buff on summons. Well, that's it for episode 9 for knowing a bringer, Light Fury, and Abyss Walker. Some of the stuff we didn't touch on was Line of Darkness because it's pretty much self-explanatory, such that the EX version has an additional line drive compared to the non-EX version. Spectral Guise is also a useful skill that gives you a delayed lift, but its downside in some situations is that it blocks yourself from continuing combos because your target is actually trapped behind you and kept away from you. All of the footage you have seen here were recorded during our live stream, so for those who do not know already, we have changed from twitch.tv/TEGaming to hitbox.tv/AikawaKazu. The reason behind the change was that Twitch servers in Singapore were extremely unstable, giving us 78 disconnections during our streaming of Versus PvP tournament in one instance. Since then, we have sought for an alternative streaming platform and we found hitbox.tv. We have managed to secure a partnership with hitbox.tv since then as well, which means that you have the quality options enabled while watching our stream. This means that you can toggle between high or lower resolution options while watching. You can also help us and support us by subscribing to our Hitbox TV channel, as well to join the casual streaming family, that's what they call themselves. Well, anyway, link to our hitbox.tv channel is provided in the description below, so do check it out. Following the channel also help us out a lot if you can't commit into subscribing. I haven't thought about which KOIS I'll be doing in episode 10, so leave in the comments below to let me know. I think there are plenty of people that wants to know some explanation to the new mechanic mode for engineer class, so that can be an option as well, but hey, we shall see what we can find in the comment section. As always, I hope this episode has helped you and your friends out into understanding the Bringer, Light Fury, and Abyss Walker classes further. Stomp the like button, share this video with your friends, and subscribe to our channel if you haven't as well. Thanks for watching as always, God bless, and I'll see you guys and girls in the next episode. Goodbye. Oh, he has something new this time. He has a slow... Okay, full blown hacking stance. Oh, I didn't see that coming.